Hey everyone, Teal here, and today I'm going to be talking about eating out and traveling. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel and just spread the word. Tell your friends and family, post it on whatever social media platform you may be on. I would really appreciate it. So starting with our topic today, eating out can be a challenge. If you have food allergies, there's a lot more to eating out than just walking into whatever restaurant you want and ordering. If you have severe allergies like me, you can't do that because of cross contact. So if you haven't seen my video about cross contact yet, please go back and watch. That will probably help you understand some of the things that I'm going to be talking about today. Why not just order something that doesn't have peanuts in it? Let's use Chick-fil-A for an example. Their chicken is fried in peanut oil, but their fries aren't. I have been asked before why I don't just eat fries in a salad or whatever else they have there. Think about the kitchen. The chicken and everything else is all made there. In that small space, it's impossible to avoid cross contact with the oil and using same pans and utensils, not changing gloves, that kind of thing. I can't eat anything from Chick-fil-A because I would have a reaction. I have been told before by a couple people that I'm really missing out because of that, and honestly, I hate it when people say that. But oh well, it's just another fast food restaurant. It's not the end of the world if I can't go. There's plenty of other foods I can eat and plenty of other restaurants that are safe. Finding safe restaurants. I'm going to walk you through the steps that we take to see if a restaurant is safe for me to eat at. This is something that my mom has done I don't know how many times. But not everyone does this to such an extreme level as us. Some will go to restaurants that do have something on their menu with whatever it is they're allergic to. They will talk to the employees and make sure their food gets prepared separately. But personally, I don't feel comfortable doing this because it can still be risky and people have had reactions because of this. Others don't have very severe allergies, and they seem to have never been bothered by cross contact. And they go to places that aren't safe and just don't eat the actual allergen. But food allergies are very unpredictable, and this can still be very risky. I would not risk that. Food allergies are serious, and people have died from them. So we stick with places that we know are safe and that I will be fine going to and feel comfortable eating there. Allergen menu. When checking out a restaurant, first my mom will look on the website to see if there's any allergen information. She looks for an allergen menu which lists all of the food served in the restaurant. It will show if any of the top 8 allergens are in the food or if there's a chance of cross contact. If there isn't one on the website, there might be one in the actual restaurant. So if nothing on the menu has any peanuts in it or has any chance of cross contact with peanut, we know that it's fine for me to eat there. And if the restaurant doesn't have anything in writing like that, we don't bother. Questions. Sometimes there will be a restaurant that has something like a dessert that's processed with peanut. A good example of this is Firehouse Subs. They have cookies and brownies, both of which are processed with peanut. When my mom found that out, she asked them if the desserts were actually made there in the restaurant. Thankfully they aren't. They come prepackaged and have no contact at all with the other food, so I can eat there. When we find a place like this, my mom has gone to the restaurant and talked to a manager and will ask questions. It can be more like an interrogation, but that is necessary in order to find out if I can eat there or not. She asks if the dessert is actually made there, and if it is it baked in the same oven as the other food? Are the same pans and utensils used? Do they change their gloves? Is there any chance at all of that coming into contact with the other food? If they are able to answer no to these questions, it's safe. We go to a few restaurants like this. Olive Garden has almond biscotti that is processed with peanut, but they keep it in a separate jar on the bar so it doesn't come in contact with anything. There's also Moe's. I can't eat there anymore because now the seasoning on their chicken, of all things, is processed with peanut. But when I could before, my mom asked them about their cookies because they're all processed with peanut, but they come to the restaurant pre-packaged and don't come in contact with anything. Wendy's has pecans for their apple pecan salad that are processed with peanut, but they come in individual bags, so they have no contact with the food. Food allergy friendly restaurants. There are a few places that are very understanding and accommodating with food allergies. We went to Disney World when I was 9, and the food was amazing. All of the chefs in every single restaurant are trained on how to prepare safe food, and when someone who has a food allergy orders, they prepare that person's meal in a separate, sanitized area and are very careful about avoiding cross contact. When we were there, I could eat in any restaurant. I had so many new things like a banana split and other desserts. We went to a Chinese restaurant, the one and only time I've ever had Chinese food, and even an African restaurant one night. The food was just incredible. There's nowhere else like it. I would say that probably 80% of the reason I want to go back is the food. If you have food allergies and are able to go, it really is an amazing experience to be able to eat anywhere you want. And then just around different restaurants and places in the country, there are some other restaurants that advertise that they're very good about food allergies, and they understand cross contact, and they will take your order and prepare your food in a separate area. Traveling. For the rest of this video, I will be talking about traveling. Traveling can be difficult when you have food allergies. Preparing. For my family, preparing for a trip includes a lot more than just packing our suitcases. There is a lot of research that goes into planning a trip. I have to go on a planned trip. I can't just set off and see what happens. There are some very important things that I need to make sure are around me. Food. Of course, this is very important. Every time we plan a trip, before we leave, we look up restaurants in the area. The safest way to do this is look for chain restaurants that we already know are safe. And in case something happens, it's always good to have a plan B for your meal. Make sure that there's a grocery store close to where you'll be staying. Make sure that there's a hospital or some kind of medical emergency clinic in case you do have a reaction. 4 years ago, we went on a 2-week road trip out west. That was the longest trip I've ever been on, and my mom did so much planning. She spent probably a month, or at least weeks, going over where we were going, where we were staying, and what we were going to eat. She looked up restaurants in every town we stayed in, and for long days on the road, she brought a cooler full of food and lots of snacks. In every town we were in, there was a hospital or some kind of medical clinic nearby, and also grocery stores. But all of that time and effort paid off, and we had a wonderful trip and even a couple pleasant surprises, like a store in Idaho that had safe, fresh bread from their bakery. Some people with food allergies travel to other countries. I've personally never left the country, but the people who do prepare as much as possible. Some will bring an extra suitcase just packed with food, and they have allergy cards that list what they are allergic to in the language of the country they're visiting. In Europe, they are actually good about accommodating people with food allergies, especially Italy, which I would love to visit one day. Transportation. Transportation is something that many people don't really think about with food allergies. I have never flown in a plane because of my food allergies. There are some airlines that don't serve peanuts and will allow you to pre-board and wipe down your seat, but this can still be risky. If you have a reaction while flying, you can't go to a hospital because you're thousands of feet up in the air. But many people with food allergies do fly, and they're very careful. They make sure the airline knows, they pre-board and sanitize everything they can, bring their own snacks, and of course have 2 epinephrine auto-injectors with them at all times. All the trips I've been on were road trips. In your own car, it is so much easier to make sure you're not exposed to anything. It's just a controlled environment. And if I did have a reaction, we could get to the hospital. It's one of those things that it's really up to you, depending on how severe your allergies are, what you can do to sanitize and avoid cross contact, and how comfortable you feel about it. So that's all I have for this week. I hope it was helpful. Thanks again for watching, and once again, please like this video and subscribe to my channel. Tell your friends and family about me, and stay tuned for my next video.